This is my deliverance, hands held high, as you deliver it. Oh, you have made me.
Well, for our first topic, we're going to dive. We're going to do both right into Andrew Lowen's game, Deliverance, which is coming soon. And
yeah, so I actually have spent like $200,000 to get this prototype in my hands right now. So it's ridiculous. But Deliverance is a tactical adventure board game about angels, demons, and the saints caught between.
Okay.
So you play angels cooperatively together, 1 to 4 players in the army of heaven, and you have come down to this small little town in modern day Southern California called Fallbrook. It is not a power center. There's no person of influence in this town, and it's very ordinary, and yet it is rife with demonic activity. And so your mission is one of infiltration, espionage, and assassination. You suspect that one of the mighty fallen princes that you have hunted since the war was won at the cross is hiding out in this town, leading the armies of darkness from the shadows. So it is your mission to figure out what's going on, what they're doing there, and put a stop to it. And if you happen to encounter a fallen prince, to send them to the abyss to await their final judgment day.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So I've been a backer of this game. I found you before you even released it on Kickstarter. I will admit I don't look too far into Kickstarters. So that was the best explanation I've heard. And that makes me like, yeah, that's awesome. That's
sounds
really
intense,
exciting.
man.
Yeah.
It is. But something strange is happening in this town because it seems as though the evils of the human realm are bleeding into the spiritual realm and manifesting themselves as darkness. So in addition to fighting demons in tactical combat, you've got to deal with darkness, which you cannot combat by blade alone. So
okay,
there you go.
This is making me think of. Do you guys remember the books? I read them, when I was much younger. But the Frank Peretti books, This Present Darkness, and is this inspired by those at all? A little too.
I will say that I have heard from many people that it feels like you are playing This Present Darkness. So,
cool.
I actually reached out to Frank Peretti this last week
wow.
to chat with him. We'll see how that goes. But
that'd be awesome to get a
Were
little
you
time.
aware of the book before that?
Yes, I've read the books and everything.
Okay.
And the question, one element of inspiration for Deliverance back before I put pen to paper was Frank Peretti's book, This Present Darkness, and Piercing the Darkness. You had a lot of really epic fight scenes, but in every case, the angels that were, the angels and fallen angels that were fighting each other, you had, the angels blocking, dodging, or clanging their swords against, the fallen angels' swords. You never had an angel get hit by a demon's sword. However, you had angels hitting demons, and the demons vaporized into red smoke and things like that. But my question is, what would happen if a demon hit an angel with its sword in the worst place? So, we all know the crotch is where you don't want to get hit, but I mean, I'm just saying,
well, for people anyway.
I'm glad you said that. I was thinking it, and I was like, I'm so depraved. I'm so depraved.
I was like, do I interrupt and say it?
I went there on accident, and I just finished the analogy.
At least we were all on the same page.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but what would happen? And Frank Peretti never answered that question. So
Keeps me up at night all the time.
Yeah.
Dear Frank Peretti, what would happen with
You reached out to him. Did you present that to him?
Yeah.
So I read your book, but I'm really concerned. What happens when they get hit in between the legs? We need this answered.
Well, it's the belt of truth, right? So
every angel's already a soprano, so I don't. What would happen?
Wow.
So, okay.
Oh,
all right.
Do you have a sound effect like that?
I wish I had one of those. We'll
We
get it in
try not
post.
to encourage his sound effects.
Yeah, don't encourage the sound effects, please. That's all we will hear.
Perfect. You can come back anytime.
Yep.
Andrew, I'm glad to hear you bring up the band Deliverance for a couple of reasons. One, that's awesome. Christian metal going on. But your box cover inspired me was, and I mentioned this to Daniel, was it reminded me a lot of the alternate cover for Stripers to Hell with the Devil. and
that's
where
awesome.
they're all angels throwing Satan into hell. And it's like, man, Daniel's a big one on having a soundtrack when you play a game. What better soundtrack would there be than to have To Hell with the Devil playing as you're playing this game? I don't know if that's something that's crossed your mind.
Yeah, I personally am a huge fan of Skillet right now.
Nice.
Just
Okay,
hardcore.
cool.
But believe it or not, my favorite thing to listen to when playing this game is the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, the instrumental soundtrack.
Yeah, that would work.
It's just like a big epic and not distracting with words and
Yes.
hardcore
Gotcha.
riffs and stuff. I just like it's like I'm transformed, or rather transported into this other realm or something. And I love music like that.
Cool. So you know what I think is interesting, and you tell me. I mean, it sounds so thematic and so cool. I think that what's neat about this is a lot of Christian games seem to be marketed towards just Christians. But I think even if you're not a Christian, this sounds like a really epic and interesting story. You've got this spiritual realm, you've got these different realms. I mean, it really could just be, and I've always said that if you look at the story of what's really going on in Scripture, it actually plays out like a pretty amazing sci-fi thriller. And it sounds like you're capturing that with this game.
Yeah, I mean, the Bible is the greatest story ever told. And the problem with using it in a fantasy is that everybody gets mad at you because it's not fantasy, right? And so it's difficult to make a good Christian game, but I thought, I wanted it. So, and to actually back up and address something you asked in this question, this lead up, it is exclusively a Christian game and unapologetically so. And actually did a presentation right before this on target markets and customer avatar. And when I run a marketing business, and two Christians actually. And the Deliverance target market are Christians that blah, blah, blah. Christians looking for an epic tactical experience, in board games and whatnot. But what is most interesting is even with a target market like that, and the fact that, I mean, this game does not shy away from things. Its market is to the Christian. So it doesn't try to preach at you. It just assumes you're already converted. So we're just going to tell a really awesome story. And that premise takes all the walls down for the non-Christian. It's like, okay, you're not going to try to save me by mission 5. It was like, well, maybe I'm in. There is no God, or your stuff is mythology, but I'll play this. Is kind of the reaction. And actually, half of our audience, half of our backers are non-Christians, even though the game is like I say unapologetically Christian, meaning it's as theologically sound as a fantasy can be. Angels are always good, demons are always bad, Satan is the worst, and there's no changing it. So like in the game, you're not going to have an angel that tricked you, I was a bad guy the whole time. Like you wouldn't expect a twist like that. It's like the Constantine twist. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But y'all had a long time to watch Constantine,
right?
But or demons seeking repentance and becoming good guys, like that just doesn't work within the lore base of the game. And so it's something that I found there is so much crossover appeal when people feel like they're not going to get preached at, but they're just going to get to experience this awesome story and an innovative game and that kind of thing. And so that's been really refreshing to see.
Well, and that's the other interesting thing. Yeah, I just feel like for non-Christians, you're still stepping into, like I said, an epic story, an epic. To them, maybe it's just mythology, but it's an epic story. And people may not be as familiar with some stuff in the Bible that talks about some of the spiritual warfare stuff. I love how one of my favorite authors is John Eldridge, and he talks about the verse in Revelation where it talks about the dragon was sent forth to swallow up the and I'm totally butchering this, I apologize, but sent forth to swallow up the offspring of Mary, and it was just talking about this in terms of spiritual warfare. And it's like you don't think about Christmas time like that. You think of Christmas, the Christmas story is like, oh, it's cute and there's little angels, but it was actually this epic spiritual battle to save humanity.
Yeah. And, even before that, you think of all the times that Satan tried to purge the messianic line. Cain killed Abel, first murder. Bad kid kills the good kid. No explanation, no description of Satan there. because but the lineage went through Seth. Noah, and in his day, the genealogy of the world polluted with angels, half angel, monstrosities. That was and yet Noah, a man who was perfect in, not only he was a man of faith, but perfect in his genealogy. So he had unpolluted blood. So he survived. Then you had all the babies killed in the kings. You had the lineage of the kings cursed. You had David try, as like whenever it seems like in the Bible, whenever you have a story of the messianic line is coming through here, like David, the son of Jesse, I want you. It's like, how many times did that guy, was that guy running for his life? And then, of course, Solomon and the kingdoms and how it was all split away. Like, now I know it's coming through Solomon. I'm going to mess that one up. And then, all the babies getting killed. And then during baby Jesus's time. And then finally, Jesus is up on the cross, killed. And then it later says that if they knew what they were doing, that they were crucifying the Lord of glory and actually accomplishing its purpose, that they would have never allowed him to go to the cross.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't talking about, the religious leaders who are dead and buried. It's talking about the eternal spirits, which I believe Satan is the leader of that band. And so it's just, as I was designing Deliverance, there's just so much more that jumps out, like what is not written and what is written. I mean, it's like you can inference Satan and his involvement in a lot of places. It's pretty wild.
So this game, you've got this fictional town, and so you've got a fictional story.
It actually used to be my hometown.
Okay, is it a fictional town or real town?
It's a real town.
Oh, it is.
Town.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
It's
Okay.
a real town. Yep.
Okay. So, how deep do you get into the biblical texts for this stuff? Does it get into those stories and stuff, or does it just inspired from those things?
So the game itself has two modes of play. One is a campaign that's like narrative driven, and then the other one is the skirmish. I find that it's the most replayable is the skirmish, that you just sit down for game night, 2-hour game, 1-hour game, whatever, and you have an epic experience. All of that story, if you will, in the game is emergent. Nothing is written for you to like read and say, Jesus, your commander in chief, told you go to here and there's a fight at the marketplace, or the town square, the mayor is possessed by the devil. Nothing like that. So everything is emergent. And I find the stories that we tell inside our own head while playing this game are just out of this world. You feel like an epically powerful angel that's just about to die. And so the stories are fantastic. However, then you've got the campaign, which has written narrative, and it focuses on the spiritual realm and the humans. There are saints that you act as kind of objectives on the board that you have to protect, as act as their guardian angel. And if you don't, there are consequences and whatnot. But there is some narrative there, but it doesn't answer all the questions of what's going on in the human realm. It actually is like the angels are perceiving something and they see, something going on here, but they're not necessarily following up on it, as though like in Frank Peretti's This Present Darkness, it was really all about, Sally Beth Rowe and her, getting along this journey and the angels helping her and protecting her and that kind of thing. Whereas the main characters of the story are the angels, and the human actors are the background cast, if you will.
Okay,
cool.
Interesting.
So I have to ask, since you brought up the skirmish mode. So one of the coolest things about dungeon crawls and skirmish games is like how you interact with the terrain.
Mm-hmm.
If you're actually, the terrain is like just this city on a large scale, like how do you get dynamic? Like, do you have cover rules? Do you have anything like that makes the game dynamic and movement and strategic?
Very much so. So the characters themselves are kitted out, we'll say in board game terms, highly asymmetric. So every character has unique abilities. You could play Michael the Archangel, who is kind of like that. He's the guy that's jumping into all the demons on the box cover. He's the one that's like, Berserker Warrior, going to take as much damage as you're going to, he's going to deal more damage than he takes, and that sort of thing. You've got other characters that are much more focused on, like, one character. Everyone has some kind of movement, ability. And one of them, Miko, is a kind of a she's the River Watcher. Which all, by the way, every one of these have a biblical basis. So there is scripture that shares, there is an angel of the waters in Revelation 16:4, and it uses that as inspiration for this angel. And then there's a fantasy kind of explanation of what this character does. But there's actually, I try to help separate what is biblical from what is fantasy everywhere I can. But this character's movement is based on, so their attacks are position based. So they attack things adjacent to them, or exactly 2 spaces away, or in a straight line in a particular direction. And whenever they use an action, which is kind of how the kind of the player's decision space, if you will, like if you want to be really, really good, then use your actions well, kind of thing. Whenever you use an action, that's when you move. You move 1 space whenever you use an action. So the position matters a lot. There are walls, which we explain away because, angels can go through walls, right? We explain away as barriers. So there's something strange happening and there's a reason these barriers are there, but you don't know exactly why till you progress through the story. Then you kind of figure out what's going on. And so there's a lot of strategic combat where, you can, like position really matters. If you just run into stuff, everything's going to come like this and just destroy you. There is strategy. The demons work together in like the craziest ways. And the bosses are like very, very different. Like it almost feels like doing a raid in World of Warcraft or something like that. It feels it's extremely strategic and there's very little randomness.
So let me ask you something. You said you have different players you can play out. They have asymmetrical powers.
Mm-hmm.
Can you play as Clarence from It's a Wonderful Life?
Not yet.
Okay.
But maybe in the expansion. So.
All right, because that's what I was looking forward to.
Some of these characters here.
Oh, cool.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you've got 9 characters. You've got male and female angels. I've been told I'm going to hell at least once for female angels, probably actually twice. So
you can go to hell twice?
Well, different people telling me repent or I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Cool. So let's go around quickly and get questions from John and Chris as well, and we can kind of do a little more quicker pace at this point. So John, what do you got for Andrew?
Well, Andrew, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but I was in my research of your game. I was like in my kitchen and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ask Alexa if she's heard of Deliverance. And so I said, Alexa, have you heard of the game Deliverance? And she went on like a 5-sentence description of the game and to mention you. And I was like, well, that's really cool. And then I said, well, I'm all full of myself. I'm like, well, hey, Alexa, have you heard of Around the Board? And her reply was, I don't have an answer for that. So,
oh, wow.
Just my way of saying thanks for coming on our show. And
that's awesome. I need to ask Alexa.
But my question for you is just real quick. I mean, from concept to now it's almost fulfillment. How long did this game take to develop?
By the time we actually deliver, it'll be 7 years.
Wow.
So,
that's wild.
Yeah, 5 years till we went to Kickstarter. And then it's been 1.5 years since then, just over 1.5 years. And it's been a long journey.
Wow.
So what you're saying is you're not a fly-by-night operation.
No. I have one of the most expensive hobbies in the world until Kickstarter refunded my investment.
There you
go.
So, Chris, you got a question?
Yeah. So when it came to this, was the origin you wanted to make a dungeon diving game, or was it you want to make a theology based game? What was the origin? The
impetus was that I kind of mashing it all together. I really, really wanted to make an epic dungeon crawl that I didn't feel in any way that I was compromising. And compromise used in 2 words or in 2 ways. One is faith. I don't want to sacrifice squirrels to summon demons that fight for me. And at the same time, I wanted to have this epic power fantasy that wouldn't compromise my faith, but also as an elite gamer, I was a former professional Hearthstone player, and I put tons of time into World of Warcraft and every other, Elder Scrolls, all sorts of stuff. But I wanted an epic experience that was innovative that I really, really wanted to play. that made me feel.
So to clarify, in this game, instead you sacrifice demons to have squirrels fight for you, right?
I mean, I don't want to spoil the expansion, but I do have the Squirrel Wrangler.
Okay, I expect Squirrel Girl in the next expansion.
That's right.
So.
Yeah.
Which actually, I'm glad you brought this up because I was going to ask about the baddies in this. It looks like so far you've just limited to demons, which feel like initially that could be kind of limiting for creativity. Did you feel that limiting? And will you introduce any other kind of bad guys that are like outside of demons?
Yeah, so we have fallen angels and demons are characters in the game. So there are two, or rather three types of bad guys. You've got minions, which represent more like themes. The meddling imp. If you've ever walked, it's midnight, pitch black, and you walk to the bathroom in the middle of the night and you stub your toe on something. The meddling imp probably had a hand in that. Whereas something like the masked evil is the concept of beauty is fleeting and sacrificing everything for beauty. That's what the masked evil kind of represents. And then you've got, and those are not necessarily biblically based, although they do, I guess they do have some precedent in there. But then you've got the fallen princes, which are the bosses. You've got Baal the Silent, which is straight out of, the Elijah and the 450 prophets of Baal. You've got, and he's silent because he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But then you've got Herod the Great, Deva, the Prince of Persia. And so there these cards, each on the back of each card, they have lore. And all of the minions have, there's the Sandman. It's one of the minions, and he likes to watch children sleep at night, and it's creepy,
Wow.
But he's reminded of days where he actually was charged with helping people go to sleep. That was his angelic role. And and demons, as they kind of try to find a piece of that, fallen seraph and other minions. But then the princes on the back of their lore card is just straight scripture. It's like 10 verses of scripture for the various princes. And so we're able to kind of play the line of fantasy while at the same time making it feel strong. So I'll think about like, what type of fight would I really want? I want something that makes it feel like the sky is falling and you have to beat this guy in time. Otherwise everything's caved in. But how do I actually make that work? And so it's like Og, the Giant King, does a really great job with that. So let's do that.
I thought it was the fallen prince of Chicken Little. Just guys falling, but anyway, quick question for you. Sorry, I'm the peanut gallery over here, so I'm always throwing in the zingers, whether they be good or bad. Mostly bad. So I got a quick question for you. You've sold me on the theme alone. The theme sounds really cool. I will be perfectly honest with you. It's well known to our audience that I am not a cooperative guy. I don't like cooperative games usually, but you're starting to sell me on it already. So maybe go further. Sell it to somebody who maybe doesn't like cooperative. Why is this a good time?
In fact, actually, a week ago, there was somebody that bought the game and then requested an immediate refund. Like 2 hours later, they were like, "I'm sorry, we never play cooperative games, and I need a refund on this." And it's like, well, let me just talk to you about this for a second. And he ended up keeping his pledge. And he bought it was like $183 shipping to Poland and all of that. And so we had this conversation. And the thing about Deliverance is that you're cooperating on the same team. You're playing against the game. So the game itself is really, really fun, really interesting. A lot of different strategy and whatnot. One of the biggest problem I see in cooperative games, like a very common game that everybody has probably played, Pandemic. That's really a one-player game. I mean, you guys can play up to 4 different classes. You can even have 3 other human bodies thinking that they're playing those classes. But if you are the medic and not going to the place with the 3 cubes, you are an idiot. There's only one right move, right? And everyone's going to yell at you, especially me, because speaking of football, I'm the quarterback of all the cooperative games I play. And
you're that dirty alpha gamer in Pandemic, are you?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's why most people, I think, hate cooperative games people that do hate cooperative games tend to want to just make their own decisions and that kind of thing. It's not so much about, I really want to backstab people, but it's more about that I want to think. And and feel like my decisions were impactful and meaningful. And, I want to see my empire kind of grow and build. And so Deliverance, you have your character, everybody's going to tell you like, oh, we really need to kill this guy. We really need to, rescue and protect that saint. We need to cast down that darkness card. But it's like, which one are we going to do? And because your character is so different from every other character, you are the one that knows best how to accomplish what it is that you want. And so even though someone's like, all right, we got to kill that saint or the demon, they don't like kill saints, and protect the saint. How you do that, you might have like 4 different options, and 2 of them are really, really good. And so a lot of the time when I teach people how to play the game, I'll teach a new player, we'll go through the first round, and then by the end of that round, they're telling me, no, I'm going to do this instead. It's like, and I say, oh, okay, I guess I have to change what I'm going to do because you did that thing and I was going to do that, so I'm doing something else now. And it just constantly reshuffles your strategy. So there's no way that you can predict like 4 or 5 rounds down the road. It's like in Pandemic, it's like, okay, I know, Paris is always going to be the center point of the 3 cubes are always going to be there, or cubes are always going to be in Paris. So the medic needs to stay near Paris, but in Deliverance, it's like, all right, we're doing really good. Everything's in control. We're just going to like, spend around and like build up and gain all of our resources back and whatnot. And then a darkness card comes out that just deals 8 damage to all the players. And you're like, oh, we need to finish this or we're dead. So it forces you to change your player behavior, which is one of the things that I think cooperative games fail to do a lot. And so it's just really fun. And then the other element of that is kind of seeing that empire grow. You've got this character that has these unique abilities, but then you have talents and Heavenly Treasure. Heavenly Treasure is kind of like loot, gives you different stats, and you level up and get more powerful. Your abilities get more powerful. But then talents actually give you brand new skills and change your behavior. And from one game to another, even if you're playing the same character 10 times in a row, you're not going to have the same talent set up. So the games are you feel like I'm Michael the Protector now, in this game. Even though I wanted to be the damage dealer, we really needed a protector, a tank. So I'm the guy running around defending everybody. And then the next game, it's like everyone needs to heal Michael because he's just killing everything. So it feels very different from game to game.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you are doing a marvelous job because, like I said, I'm not a co-op guy, but you have got me very interested in this game. So I'm excited.
Andrew, I'll go one step further than that. I always say theme is the big thing with me, but I've never been interested in a dungeon crawler in my life. And Chris, much to the chagrin of Chris, he's trying to get me into one right now. But to me, it's the theme of dungeon crawls never appealed to me. This one actually does. And everything, I got to be honest with you, I've looked for bad things about it online. And people that said, I didn't know this guy. He asked me to look at his game and now I'm going to write a review. And it sounded like it was going to be a terrible review. And the guy's like, no, this is a game. This is a real good game. It's like, Christian, non-Christian, whatever. This is, I mean, it looks like it's really played out and really painstakingly produced. And so I've literally not been able to find anything bad about this game online. So
7 years.
Kudos to you, man. This looks like it's going to be really good.
Yeah, 7 years, and I think you told us in one of the production meetings that it's been play tested how many times? You said like 200,000 times, you thought?
Yeah, probably twice that many by now. So we have a tabletop simulator mod that we play tested the game at least 2,000 times before putting it up on Tabletop Simulator. And we've actually run conventions called Deliverance Con, virtual conventions where people will come in and play. Like we had 20 games played in a day of Deliverance Con, about 60 or 70 players. And we've had right now on Board Game Geek, it has 140 reviews or so. And it's got an average rating of 8.7 stars, which is higher than Gloomhaven at the moment. Gloomhaven's at like 8.6 or something. But obviously it has more ratings, so it's rated higher. But yeah, Deliverance is showing extremely well among very seasoned gamers. Nice. And there are people that are like, I'm rating this a 1 because there's clear manipulation here. Yes, the game is not even released yet.
That's the only thing I saw was people just doing it to be doing it.
Yeah. It's like, well, there are thousands of plays on Tabletop Simulator from strangers.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the world of board games, right there. Of
That's
board
right,
game
yeah.
geek specifically. So, but all I heard was that you're coming for Gloomhaven. So, Deliverance new
Yeah.
#1 on Board Game Geek.
Watch out, Gloomhaven.
It's actually
Hey.
Brass Birmingham now.
Yeah, that's
Now
right.
Switch back again.
Oh
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, it's gonna switch back and forth for a while here. So we'll. All I see is that there's weakness at the top, and now's the time to strike.
Okay.
Well, we're going to put some stuff in our show notes about how people can find out more information about Deliverance. Is it still on Kickstarter currently?
No, so Deliverance is available for pre-order. If you go to deliverancethegame.com, deliverancethegame.com or playdeliverance.com, both will get you there. There's a link to the pre-order store to pre-order the game.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think of Deliverance in the comments or what other exciting Kickstarters you're waiting on. And don't forget to like the video, smash that subscribe button to continue seeing more great content just like this.
If you enjoyed what you just watched, click on the embedded video for the rest of the episode.